Alrighty. Hi, this is Peter Brusso for 101 Small Business Mastermind, podcast number 5. And of course, right away, my video stops working. That's just wonderful. And with us today, we've got Dick Bentley. Dick, you want to say something?
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name's Dick Bentley, and I'm an independent associate with Legal Shield, and I come from a 35-year career involved with sales and marketing in the electronics industry. So I hope everybody's having a good morning. Frank?
Great. Frank?
Yeah, my name is Frank Zarenga. I'm originally from Boston. Some people know that, some people don't. My focus is on generating quality leads that contact you before you contact them. And that's what I'll be concentrating on in my participation on these podcasts. Thank you.
All right. And joining us for the first time, young Mark Giardino. You would like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Peter. Hi, my name is Mark Giardino.
Oh, of course.
PalmSpringSport.com. And PalmSpringSport.com is a concierge sport and fitness website for Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley. And what Palm Springs Sport does, it brings together the sports community, also business community, and also a nonprofit community, any organization, in one website. And we bring together the event, businesses, and the activities of the Coachella Valley and beyond.
All right. Hey, Dick, why don't you pick it up for a second here? It looks like I've got some kind of visitors, so I'm going to stick a sign up on my door broadcasting. So why don't you head down your points that we were going to talk about, and I'll do mine last. How about that?
That sounds good, Peter. Okay, this morning I just want to take a few minutes to cover a couple of things. The first thing is, we have people on this who may be in business already or maybe contemplating business. And I was looking at some things about entrepreneurs and starting a small business, and what you should ask yourself before you start. And I'm going to cover a couple of them, maybe 3 of them. But the first one, which I think is extremely important, you should ask yourself is: are you comfortable with taking risks? Being your own boss also means you're the one making tough decisions, and entrepreneurship involves uncertainty. So you got to make sure that you have the personality, the drive, and the ability to wake up every morning and say, "Here we go again," because you're going to be faced with a lot of issues along the way. And I think you should, make sure that you are comfortable with taking that risk. The second is: are you an independent thinker? Because in most cases, a small business is a one-man show, and they may grow and add a few employees, but they're never going to be huge where you have a big staff. So think independently, make your decisions. And I think that leads into the third one. As you're making the decision, it's great to have a sound you. Or person that Peter and I have developed tremendously in my business and decisions and thinking and all like that. So I think it's important that you don't be just by yourself. In Legal Shield, we say you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you want to be in business for yourself, but have a support system around to support you. Okay, I looked at is what are the essentials a small business should have? Be incorporated in a business or their state of the. I'll start. But up on almost every article I read or list I checked about the main essential to starting having a thorough, complete business plan. And again, there are a lot of different elements to that. The first one is, you should have an executive summary. It's a snapshot of your business plan and as a whole, which is on your company profile and goals. read tips about what you should do. You can get articles and read how to write one of those. But this is kind of says, I'm in business because, and I intend to do this and that. Important. That gives you kind of the, probably the most marketing. Launching your business is essential for you to the industry, the market you're going to be consider in that market, and your competitors. How they do it, and I think we'll talk a little bit later about the competitive analysis. It's important that you truly find who they find as you get into this business plan, that they're not who it's not who you thought they were to begin with. Okay, a company description. Someone asks you what's your business about. You could do it a 1-minute elevator pitch that's very precise and gets them attuned to what you're trying to do. Marketing sales plan. That should be the overall business plan, so how you're going to do, what kind of people you might need to help you do that. So you got to make sure that you know what you're selling, why you're selling it, and what are the benefits. Because Peter says often also is features are great, but benefits are sell. The customers want to know, what am I going to get when I purchase this product, and what's the benefit I'm going to receive from it. Depending on the size of your company, funding requests, financial projections, what kind of money are you going to need to get your business going? If it's a brick and mortar, you're going to have employees and things of that nature. Legal consultation is important in today's world of regulations if you have people working for you. So these are the highlights that I just wanted to quickly go over that we could probably talk about as we get into this podcast. But I think it's important to have your business plan, what your business for, how you going to, what type of roadblocks you might face and how you can get over them. So I think Peter says a lot too, and I guess I'm quoting you a lot today, Peter. But if you plan, you're going to fail. Basically, you have to know what you want to do and kind of what you need to get it done. So that's quickly my overview of it, Peter. And I know you're going to touch on some of these things later on in our podcast. So I guess Frank, you want to go next?
Sure. As you know, my business plans and all these things you guys are talking about and will talk about are extremely important, and you can't succeed without it. I have to find people to do that because I can't do it. I don't have the attention span to do that. So I do what I do best, which is finding people that care about what you do and that kind of thing. I attended a webinar yesterday put on by the Content Marketing Institute out of Boston, and it was really, really good. It was an hour chock full of good stuff, and I took some notes I'd like to share. The internet and the smartphone have dramatically changed how people buy what they're going to buy. It's turned it upside down. Buyers no longer need you to find out what you do. If you're not online, you're not found. You're not found. Buyers many times know more about your company than a sales rep does because they are really doing their research about their competitors. So the focus of this webinar yesterday was that the old traditional marketing campaigns are almost dead. I called it, because I spent a lot of time in the senior care, they've called hospice. They're still around, and they'll be around, my guess is, for another 5 to 8 years, but every year they'll become less and less effective. The campaigns that are working today are campaigns where the buyers, potential buyers, find you. You don't find them. They find you. And where they're going to find you? when they're at their desktop, when they're on their laptop, when they're on their tablet, when they're on their smartphone. And at what time of day they're going to do it? Whenever they want. Whether you're open or closed, they will get what they want to get. And what they're looking for is they're looking for information that will help them solve their problem. What a lot of small business owners do, and what I did, I saw the internet as a great stage for me to give my sales pitch. I said, wow, I can have people all over the world listen to sales pitch. And you know what? I treated it was treated like a TV. The internet was like a major TV. I could do my commercials, and I could do it for free. This is awesome. And that worked in the beginning, but that no longer works. And they had a great quote. We're all talking about delivering content. And listen to these two lines and what it says. The first line, content that helps sells. Okay, that makes sense. Content that sells doesn't. I said, wow. Content that helps sells. Content that sells doesn't. If you put your content to serve your purpose, means I want to tell you how great I am and all the great things I can do for you. In other words, it's all about me, the vendor. Click, I'm gone. If I provide content, and we'll talk about the form of the content in a minute, if I provide content that helps you, the potential buyer, get more information to make the best decision for you when you're ready to do it, that sells. And I said, wow, that was very insightful. And because of all the internet, we have this great ability to calculate statistics. And here's the latest one. The one that I caught yesterday. The average modern adult attention span is between 2.8 and 8 seconds, which means if you don't grab them in that time frame with something that says, yeah, I think this will help me, or if they say, oh, damn, another sales pitch, if you don't grab them, you're out. If you do grab them, they'll stick around. Now we talked a lot about videos. Every minute of every day, 100 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube. 100 hours of video every minute. Now a lot of them is a cat chasing the dog away to protect the kid. I saw that video 5 times today on TV. But people are going to the internet, most people, not to buy, but to find out what they need to learn in order to eventually make a decision to buy. And there's another one. Viewers spend 100% more time on web pages with videos than web pages without videos. So if you spend all this money and time developing a web page, put a video on it, chances are they'll spend 100% more time on your video.
What was that stat?
Every minute. Pardon?
What was that statistic?
Yeah, viewers spend 100% more time on web pages with videos than web pages without videos. That's how important videos are now and again, remember I talked about the attention span? You have an About Me page, right? Everybody has an About Us page on their website. And it starts off with, hey, I'm a nice guy or a nice gal, I did this, and it's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. At the end it says, I have a wife and 2 kids, I like walks on the beach, I like my dogs. In 2.8 to 8 seconds, I've already clicked off that page. However, you have a video that says, hey, my name is Peter, or my name is Frank, or Mark, or Dick. Hey, a little bit about me. I don't know what's coming next in the video, so I got to pretty much stay until the end until I decide that you're too boring, that I'm going to click you off anyway. But you have a much better chance of grabbing me and keeping me on that page to listen to what you want to say than if you just have a bunch of words. So video is the way to go. And again, I could go on for another half hour, and I don't want to do that. And then the webinar closed with this statement. And these are all content people, and we had people that do work for SAP and Nike. So these were big, heavy hitters. I mean, people that wouldn't take my call or shake my hand if I met them in an airport. Okay, but they were talking to me because I was on the webinar. And here was a key statement that they said about when you're creating your content. And we're talking about video content. And again, and I learned this yesterday. Most of the time when I create a video content, my question I ask is, hey, is this useful? And only I can answer that. because no one else has seen it but me. They said, instead of asking, is it useful, ask this question: will it be used? Once your audience reads it, do they think it's important enough that they will use it? And it gives you a whole different perspective. Instead of looking at, hey, I'm going to generate something that I think is useful because I know what I'm talking about, nobody cares. Create video, create content that says, my audience, what are they looking for, and will they use it? It may be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if they're not going to use it, you've wasted not only your time, but more importantly, their time. And you will be marked as a wasteful person, whatever the term is. So those are, again, and like I said, I have an hour's worth of notes. They even sent me a copy of their slides, which, believe it or not, they're all visual. Surprise, surprise. But there was some good stuff there, and I'll be bringing the stuff that I learned on a webinar and all my other research and my forthcoming book on our weekly podcast, where we're talking about how we can better improve the chances of having people who should know care enough to want to know, because the more they learn about us, the more chance they will like us, trust us, and buy from us. And that's my frankly speaking segment for today.
Well, that's very frank of you, Frank. All right.
Okay.
Mark, you're up on the hot seat here now. We're looking for some guidelines for startup businesses, things you can help with.
Well, business plan is our theme today, and I have done 3. And I had time here to sit back and ponder when I started my first one. And I did my first one in 1999. And at the time, I was starting a book store. And it was very specialized. And what I found about my business plan, in order to get my lease, I had to present the brokers a business plan. So I was forced to do it, which was great at the time. So we did our first one, and what I found about business plans is they're constantly ongoing. And what I mean by that is, as you start your business plan, is you have your your platform, your format. But as your business grows, and longer you're in business, your business plan changes and stays the same in different ways. Meaning your numbers start clarifying, you enter into fields that you never thought of in the beginning. So I would recommend maybe every 3 years that you would go back to your business plan, narrowing down the numbers, fixing the ideas, going back to your mission statement, as Rich said, that you need to do, and just keep working with it. And again, the second one, again, I was forced to do another one. I was trying to get a business plan. A business loan. And I'm laughing now because it was right in the middle of it was like 2009 or 2010, I'm sorry, during, the crisis of the financial crisis. So when I decided to do a business loan is when absolutely the banks were not giving out no loans whatsoever. So again, I put myself in a very trying time. But what I did a masterful business plan. And I was proud of that business plan. An incredible business plan I put together. And the banks, when I went in there with that, they were shocked. They really were. There was nothing they could say about it. But again, they weren't giving loans at the time. But it was great. And now with PalmSpringsSport.com, I had to go back to another business plan. So that was my third. So I've been through this process all the time. I've been in business since 1998. and then the physical store was up in February 2001. So I love talking about business plans, and I would love to hear more about them from Rich. Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, let's swing over to me. I'm, matter of fact, building another business plan for another company. A business plan actually consists of many different pieces. There's a marketing plan, there's a technology plan, there's a facilities plan, there's a product plan. So there's a lot of different plans that go into these things. And the first business plan I ever was involved with, we spent $87,000 on a company to write that business plan. And I think I've said this before, but this gentleman, Tom Miller, said, who was the chief guy writing the plan, he says, when we print it out, when we're done with it and print it out, it won't be worth the paper it's printed on. And I said, excuse me? What's that? And he says, it's not the plan itself so much, but it's what you go through to do the plan. In other words, proving to yourself, seeing the real numbers, to make sure that you're a real business. And I've seen so many entrepreneurs start right out and without a business plan, because frankly, it's not a lot of fun. But they've got great business plan software. I use Business Plan Pro, and you can even collaborate on the web with them now. I mean, it's really quite different than it used to be. So that's my put on business plans. However, this last weekend I spent 10 hours with Michael Suter on Skype doing his brochure. And I want to give some words of wisdom on brochures. He thought he had a finished brochure. 10 hours later, it's completely different. And brochures, just like Frank was saying, we only have a few seconds to capture their attention. So I made this stupid little thing up here, but the most important pieces of a brochure are the front page and the back page. Those are the two most important pieces of any brochure, because you don't know how it's going to land on a desk. Is it going to land face up, or face down? And so you want your offers to be very apparent on the front and back cover. Also, you need an action graphic, which moves the eye to the headline. Oh, actually, over here I'm backwards. And there's got to be an implied you in that headline. You will love saving 20%. And then list the benefits, and a call to action is a requirement on a brochure. The back page, very similar, an action graphic with your offer, maybe some benefits ad copy, and a call to action. Very, very important. When you open it, the first page that they run into is full of benefits, right? And as they continue to open it, there may be a bit about you, but again, benefits, call to action on every page. And this particular graph, I'm backwards over here, this particular graph right here is a very clever thing I learned. So what you do with this graph is basically you find all the things that your company does right, and you list them down the left-hand side. And of course, your check mark is in every one of those. And then you do your competitors, and they don't have half of those check marks, and so it lopsides the whole thing very quickly into your favor, versus just putting some stuff up there, and yeah, you hit a couple of them, they hit a couple of them, etc. This visually just lopsides the whole thing into your favor. So brochures are very, very important pieces of paper that are scientifically designed. You just don't throw them together. That's one topic I wanted to talk about. The second one is lumpy mail. Okay, so I have a friend, Phil Kasich, and he's working with Infusionsoft, and they're a lead generation company, and it's a phenomenal sales funnel capability. But basically, he's going after dentists and reputation management. And reputation management, for those that are not familiar with it, well, if you go to Yelp or the like, you get ratings, okay? And usually only the passionate, negative people go in and give you stuff on Yelp and hammer you, with a few interspersed positively passionate individuals will give you 5 stars. So he wants to send out direct mail, and he's got a way that he sends it out each week in a different piece, like I've always talked about the sledgehammer routine, how to do that. But he kept saying lumpy mail. And I said, tell me about lumpy mail. Well, if you get a letter, junk mail, so to speak, and it's just a regular letter, we automatically screen those out and throw them away, put them in the burn bag, whatever. However, if you get an envelope and it's lumpy, literally, that like there's something in there, that curiosity part gets you to open that. What he did was he went to China, well, they ordered from China, metallic foam stars. Of course, remember now, Yelp is a star-rated system, right? And he throws those in with his brochure and seals that envelope. So when it's processed, they get squished, go right through, it's no biggie, but after they're done, they pop back up and it's lumpy. And so people open it, these stars fall out, and of course his brochure reads, you need more stars. And it was perfect. And so, but lumpy mail can be very personalized. So I was talking to Michael Suter yesterday, and he was going to do a direct mail campaign, and I said, hold the phone. I said, don't just print out stuff and send your brochure. Let's do this smart. On the front part of the envelope, everything's handwritten. He goes, really? I said, yep, handwrite everything. Because you're going to tend to open something that somebody handwrites to you, addresses to you. And then on the back, we actually print that little checkbox, the visual graphic of his company and how he gets all the pluses in one column and the other ones don't. So on the back of the envelope, it's a very strong visual. And then inside, he's going to get little lumpy happy faces because people are happy to save 20% on their insurance. And this is, of course, medical liability insurance, but that's an application of lumpy mail. It's really a hybrid now of direct mail. And it's, we have to have Charles Greenberg on here when he gets back from his vacation and stuff to talk about direct mail because he did that for 15 years. And it's quite the science behind direct mail campaigns. And I always say, what's better, a 3-page direct mail campaign letter or 12? Everybody says 3, and that's absolutely wrong. It's 12 pages. If you're interested in Corvettes, for example, you don't want 3 pages of information. You want as much as you can get, 12. If you're not interested in Corvettes, 3 pages or 12 pages end up in the trash. So longer is better when it comes to direct mail campaign and also podcasts as well. Had an argument with a gentleman last week, and he looked at our podcast. It was 1 hour, and he never watched it because it was 1 hour. And I said, if the Lord himself got on a podcast and gave you an hour discussion on how to fix your life and do all this stuff, he would never watch it because it's an hour long? Come on. Not to say that we're the Lord by any means, but we have some very powerful and good stuff to say. And so that's kind of my pitch on lumpy mail and brochures and whatnot. So now we just open it up. Frank, did I answer your what the heck is lumpy mail?
Yeah, and you're right. As you were talking, and again, when you form a lot of companies, people don't scrub their mailing lists. I mean, I'm getting stuff from a company I started like 12, 15 years ago, and I had that yesterday, as a matter of fact. And some guy bought a mailing list cheap. It was cheap because it was old and outdated, and he sent me something for a company that I opened and closed 15 years ago. And it was a sticker label. He printed a bunch of labels with stickers on them, where you just peel and put on. His name on the left-hand corner was typed, and it was flat, and I knew what it was. First of all, I knew because it was an old company. But if he had something that said had a little feel to it, like I guess the term is now lumpy mail, I would have opened that. I would have opened that. You are absolutely right. It would have grabbed my attention. Now, I may have still thrown it away. In fact, I know I would have because the company doesn't exist. But it got me past that first hurdle of opening the piece of mail. So that was very good.
Absolutely. When I was doing video reviews, I still do, of websites, Frank, I used to burn a DVD with their video review on it. But then I went ahead on their website and I made a DVD cover, put it in a DVD case, and I printed labels with their logos on it onto the DVD. Then I did a priority mail for $5.25. Now, who's going to throw away a priority mail box first? That's not happening. They're going to open it up, and here is a DVD with a beautiful box cover, all their logos, all their information. They're going to open that up, and they're going to watch it, and it's like, if you want them to watch that, that's the way to do it. But, so there you go. Anybody else want to talk about that?
Just one last thing. What I like about it is that a lot of people are still doing direct mail campaigns because they do it. And what you did with, I guess it was, I don't know if it was Michael or Kazak, I guess you were talking about, you did something different, which means your direct mail piece was not like everybody else's. And when you're different, people want to know what makes you different. So you use the curiosity of the lump in the envelope that says, I've got to find out what's in here, because unless I open it, I'll never see it. And now that was brilliant.
Well, I wished I could say that I invented lumpy mail, but I didn't.
Okay.
But I did do the DVD thing. That's absolutely true. But the same thing is absolutely something that a business has to ask themselves. If you're going to use a very expensive post office in direct mail, and a wildly successful direct mail campaign yields you about 1%. Interest. So I mean, you can do the numbers. So the way to flip that around, by the way, Frank, if we're going to talk about, I have this thing called the sledgehammer routine, and I picked 100 names off the web, and I made 6 unique products that I was going to send them, one a week, and one was a miniature CD-ROM with their logos on it, but when it booted up, it was actually one of my clients' pool companies, but so they can see that. And then I made a brochure for them that would really work. And anyway, by the time I got to the 3rd week, I quit. I had almost a 60% or over 60% response rate, as opposed to 1%. And so if you're sending stuff that's unique to these people every week, they're going to engage you sooner or later. And it's like you're taking a sledgehammer and hitting them in the head. So many people do one of. And then that's not the way to design, in my opinion, a direct mail campaign letter, a campaign. You have 6 mailings with 6 unique ideas, 6 unique things that is about them. And it's like you said, Frank, it solves a problem. It solves something that they need. Just don't talk about yourself. But those products could be very interesting if you can design 6 honest-to-God physical things that they can play with, move around, do whatever. You're going to get a client out of that.
Peter, in my network marketing world, the statistics show that most of the clients that you are trying to attract won't make a decision or won't buy until after the 7th contact. And the other statistic is that most network marketers quit after 5 contacts, and the high majority of them don't even get to 5. So that goes along with your sledgehammer thing. You can't make 1 or 2 contacts say, well, that guy's not interested, because he's just not ready to be interested. So I mean, your 6 mailers are good. There's got to be a way to, you always try to leave the contact discussion with a reason to call them back again. So that's kind of, maybe that's kind of an old school philosophy, but that's how I try and operate. And I have a question for you on the brochure and the direct marketing. Based upon what Frank presented, with the old marketing techniques in 5 years will probably be history. How do you see that as affecting, say, a brochure like you do, Lumpy's marketing or whatever? Do you see that transitioning somehow into electronic world, or you still see a future for the brochure business?
Oh, I think there's still a future for the brochure business. Now, point of fact, though, I mean, you can take a brochure and do a CD-ROM attachment to that brochure, which gives you the electronic slash print crossover. And these obviously boot up by themselves, and they're running Flash or whatever, tell a story, or as Frank's been talking about, video. And you know, I'm very big in video, but use it as a surfboard or delivery mechanism for something more high speed, like a disc, you know. And so I think there's still future. You can get little foam dots that you can put on the brochure. I have some in the back if I wanted to go get them. And anyway, then you literally stick your CD-ROM, DVD, whatever you're trying to do, on that foam dot. Of course, it'd be nice if I turn it right side up, huh? And do it as a surfboard like that. But I still think there's places for these things for sure. And just like we've talked, I don't know if we've talked here or not, but over on the 101marketingpodcast.com site, we have a real good chunk of video tutorial on flyers and how to make flyers that work. And so, but the same concepts go into the brochures, except for the fact that you do have a front and the back are the most important pieces to remember about that. So I still think that there's a place for that out there.
I have a comment.
Yeah, well, the
about that.
reason the reason I questioned was we talked about developing the business plan and the elements that go into the plan, and you spoke about marketing and technology, and I agree. I agree with Mark that you have to revisit your business plan. I think it's probably you got to revisit more than once every 3 years, because I look at it as a living document that has to be upgraded and changed. So I think someone in a small business who's thinking about developing this plan is going to say, geez, what should I do? Should I do the brochure, or should I do some video and all? I think the answer probably is you lay your plan out to do all of the above. Some people even still this day still don't get on, especially a lot of senior citizens, and if you have a product that may be geared towards them, good with a DVD or something is probably a great way to get to them. So I think as we look to the future and realizing that nothing ever stays the same, and the future is going to change how we go to market, I don't think we should drop one because the other one is going to be more popular. I think we should kind of phase into one, but again, look at your customer base, look at your competitors. How do you do it differently? And in some cases, a good, well-produced brochure could be as valuable as a well-produced video. So that's kind of why I asked that question.
Yeah, one thing you do bring up is an integrated master schedule, which I'll be doing one next week. You've got all these stuff you want to go do. What has to happen first, second, and third, and why? And you always keep your eye on profit, because you've got to fuel your company with sales, and sales are king. I mean, we can get lost in doing videos and making brochures and spend the next year getting stuff ready, when in fact, if we wanted to go after one part of the market, you figure out what you've got to get in collateral materials to support that sales effort. And that's important. And then while that's underway, you can go put the next product line or the next piece of the marketing plan together, or integrated master schedule, what has to happen first, second, and third. But as a rule of thumb on that too, I've got a number of clients who have websites that we're just building, and they want to go out right away and do social media and this and that. You don't want to drive traffic back to a non-finished website. You'll lose them. It's kind of like I said this morning to a client, it's like having a candy store. And you only have 1/3 of the shelves filled when people are coming in and you're driving people in there, and there isn't much there, and they're not going to come back again because you only have one chance to make that first impression by definition. So build your base well before you drive traffic.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And as we talk, and I know we've talked about this on previous podcast, that competitive analysis and that market research that program that you have really is the Bible to go forward on, because it covers the integrated marketing. It covers all the things, who your competitors are, who your customers are, what are your customer preferences, what benefits do you bring to those customers. So, I think that's a great program.
Yeah, I should try to figure out how to get some of that up here. Or maybe we do one, Dick. Maybe we do one for the sake of just doing it and making a video out of it and putting it up on the site as well. But we can certainly go through that again with somebody, or if somebody like Mark, for example, wants us to do a competitive analysis of his internet space, that could be fun and helpful to him as well.
Yeah.
That would be great.
It would be a real beneficial podcast. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah,
sorry.
it would be great. Again, it's okay. Again, that competitive analysis.
Well, we're not hearing you, Mark.
Can you hear me okay now?
Sound-wise, we're...
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark.
Oh, you
okay,
can?
I can't. Okay, good. If you guys can hear him, that's great. I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either.
Frank, can you hear me?
No, I cannot.
I can hear him.
Okay.
Okay. Well, at least we have one.
Gee, Dick, maybe you want to act as his second in command there and start telling him. Yeah, as translator, exactly.
Yeah.
What I want to say is,
yeah.
you do your competitive analysis.
Go ahead, and I'll fill in.
You could do your competitive analysis, and then you relate it back to your business plan.
Technical difficulties.
You have your concrete information. You take that concrete information, and you apply it to your business plan.
Whilst we're doing that, I'll song and dance here.
Okay, let me.
Right,
okay, I'll just
Mark,
comment a couple
can't
of
hear
things.
you. So, you want to, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah. I want to go back to a point you make about marketing campaigns. The old marketing campaigns still work with some people, and they always will. My mother-in-law, and by the way, I'm one of the few guys that loves his mother-in-law. If she had the opportunity, she would still buy a smartphone that had a rotary dial, because she's a rotary person. See? So that's just a way. The thing is, she can't find one, so she's holding off buying a smartphone. The point I try to make with my piece is that they're going to become less and less effective unless you do something different. Like what Peter talked about, putting that video business card of yours, attach it. Wow, the lumpy mail. It's not the old marketing campaigns that everybody did before. It's different, and people will look at different, and people will look at something that talks about them or their kids. For example, I had this great marketing plan when I was in the life insurance business. And I worked for a major company. And listen to this. So Peter, I send you a direct mail piece, and I was the smartest to do lumping. And I want to talk to you about having a life insurance so that if you were to die on your way home, your kids would have a place to live. You get hundreds of those from every insurance company, right? It's standard issue direct mail, and it's worthless. But how about if I did this? You open up the letter from me, and it's lengthy, and the first thing you see is a picture of your house that I took last week. And the headline is, "What a beautiful place to come home to." Now you're going to want to see, it's my house. And it's reason because I can see the plants and everything else. And the next line would say, what if you didn't make it home last night? Would your family be able to stay here? And then I go from there. And I thought it was, and again, everything I do I think is brilliant, so I thought it was a great idea, and I sent it to my insurance company, and I sent it to my insurance company. You know what they said? You can't do that. It's not compliant. It was not compliant, and they would not allow me to do it. Now, but the point I was trying to make is that the standard everybody's doing the same way, marketing campaign, are dying, and they will eventually be dead. Unless you do something unique and different, the lumpiness, the video little disc that you attach, or even something that I did, which took a picture of their house a week before. that kind of thing. That was a current picture of their home. And hopefully their car was in a driveway, because I had a picture of their car in the picture, that kind of thing. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that the old standard, everybody's doing it campaigns, I believe are going to die unless you do something different. And that was the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, I had anyway. He died too. Everybody freaking dying around me. The fire alarm company business in Phoenix, and we got a little Betty doll, and if you don't, every year by law you're supposed to test your fire alarm systems, and all of that stuff if you have a commercial building, and if not, you're going to burn up little Betty. So we actually burned the doll, put it in a coffin, and sent it to them.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I mean, you open that up, here's a half-burned doll in a coffin, and if with our business card like that boots up and talks all about it, but that whole idea of sending a coffin, and I actually, Frank, you may know this, the number one top-rated insurance salesman, this is 8 years ago, was a Jewish rabbi in New York City. And he would walk into his appointments with a casket and set the casket down on their desk. It was a miniature casket, mind you. And
Right.
talk about, you're going to be in one of these things here shortly, and where's your family going to be, And that whole idea of him waltzing in with this casket under his arm and dropping it on your desk, it really forces you to think, God, he's right, I will be in one of those, maybe. And so that whole idea of having props and touching people. Oh, before I forget too, A. Weber, Dick, you talked about touching people 5 times, right? Well, A. Weber, which I love, aweber.com, it actually has an ability that when somebody signs up for your newsletter and opt-in, which we've been talking about, Frank, opt-in, don't just send stuff out like we know somebody that does. Anyway,
Right.
You can send out, when they sign up, you send out 3 informational emails sparse, with a certain, the first one goes out 2 days later, 5 days later, intervals is what I was trying to get to. And the fourth email out is an offer. Then you have 3 more informational emails that go out at intervals, and the next one's an offer. You do that 12 times. And you'd be surprised. It's actually increased my sales on one of my websites by 30% just doing that. So it works.
It sure does. It sure does.
And so there you go. So yeah, Frank, why don't you bring up the point about opt-in mail again?
Yeah. Again, maybe because it's a pet peeve of mine. I used to go, and that's another one of my things about networking meetings. I used to go to networking mentors chamber meetings and so forth, both in Orange County and here out in the Valley, and there were what I call collectors. They go around and collect business cards, and they really didn't care who you were as long as they got your business card. And I collected some business cards as well, and I was guilty of this in the beginning. And then they'd go back and they would put you on their mailing list and send you out their promotional emails. And you know what? I don't want to see them. I didn't ask for them. Matter of fact, after the first time I said, well, he's just introducing himself. But then a week or 3 days later, I get another email from him. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like I'm being harassed. The third time, I now feel I'm being badgered, and I resent the person who sent me. And if I ever do buy, I will never buy from them, and I will never recommend or refer them. So they're causing the opposite to happen of what they do want to happen. I love opt-in. I love opt-in. It says, hey, I know who you are, or at least I want to know who you are. Yet you have my permission to send me some stuff until I opt out. And when will I opt out? When you're no longer valuable from my perspective.
Absolutely.
No longer, and I think that is that and the do not call list, I think, are awesome.
Yeah.
So just because you collect somebody's business card or someone gave you someone's business card, here, I think this guy, I want you to meet this guy. Oh, great, I can start sending him or her emails. No, again, if you're doing it to me, not only will you not get my business, but I'll talk bad about you like I did earlier before our podcast this morning, and I'll never do business with you. That's my feeling about unsolicited email.
Yeah, opt-in list. The magic of an opt-in list is your client actually gives you the right to market them. They want to see your deals. They want to see your stuff, and it's just brilliant. I mean, they're already in the buying mode. So an opt-in list is the only thing a serious website should ever do, or business, in my opinion.
Shameless plug time. The book that I'm writing will teach people how to attract anonymous suspects you don't even know they exist, to opt into your list before you even know about them. And that's so anyway. So that's my hot button right now is opt-in.
Well, and you know, I was working some keyword research with a client this morning, and very interesting. In the third position for a Google search for a particular keyword was a YouTube video, and it used the exact keyword. And so, you know, putting up video that has your keywords in it is like gold. And, you know, that proved out this morning. I mean, here it is sitting amongst Wikipedia stuff that you can hardly compete with a wiki because they have so many backlinks and so many other stuff going on for them, and index pages. You can't get there. But you could get there with a matched URL or with that YouTube video. So I think it supports SEO big time right now by putting a video up on YouTube and serving it back over on your site. And of course, who owns YouTube but Google? And that's where you're trying to get rated for. So they're going to be pro their own site like YouTube versus Vimeo, for example. So that also proves out a little bit of what you said as well.
And what does it cost to put up a YouTube video?
Nothing. It's free.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you have a TV studio in your hands right now.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Or like what we're doing here, a Google Hangout. Of course, my lower third sign isn't working. We're just having lots of technical difficulties today, but that happens. So anyway, all right, we're coming up on an hour, guys. So any last thoughts, Dick?
No, I today, and I think my opinion is write the big business planner. But other than that, I say write the plan. It could be on one sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be, you know, an $87,000 business plan, but something to give you the direction you're going, and see where all these marketing ideas fit. Some will take all of them, some will take some of them, but I think it's up to you to determine which one. So other than that, Frank?
Yeah, talk about business plans. You know how I feel about business plans. If you must do a business plan, do not talk to me. Talk to Peter, Dick, or Mark about business plans, and they'll do a great job because I won't. I'll tell you to do a video. My last thought is, especially for people who are trying to decide to start a business or trying to grow their business. Stop trying to be better. Start trying to be different. Different grabs attention. Better falls in line with everybody else. Be different is better than being better. That's it.
Good point. Mark, can we hear you at all?
Can you?
Nope.
Anybody?
Gosh darn it.
Can any?
Well, I'll make it
I can hear Mark.
Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh. Whoops. Well, he might be trying to come back.
Bye, Mark. He's gone.
Yeah, really? Say goodnight, Dick, huh? All right. So I think we're done here at the moment. You know, my closing thoughts are, of course, business plans are important. Use Business Plan Pro software. It's great stuff. It's not that expensive. I think it's $150, something like that. But you can certainly make a very nice business plan to either get investment money or bridge money if need be. But it's got to be pretty decent. But the bottom line is it's the process you go through. Mark, can we hear you yet?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right.
So
All right.
give us your closing thoughts, Mark.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's great information from Dick and Peter and Frank. Again, Mark at PalmSpringsport.com. Again, I just want to say it is good to do a business plan. I did my own business plan. And again, when you do it yourself, you get involved with the numbers, you get involved with the plan. And then what the great thing about the business plan is it's on paper, and then you actually go out and do it. And then you feel such a great accomplishment because, one, you put it on paper and you really think, well, can this happen? Can I do these things? Is this going to happen? And then as your business grows, those things do happen. And the self-accomplishment of putting it on paper, making it real, accomplishing it, and the rewards of profits, like Peter says, rewards of helping people, rewards of being part of the community, and it starts from the business plan. The business plan in your head, you put it on a piece of paper, and then you actually go out and do it. And believe in yourself, believe in your business plan, and it will happen. And thank you for this morning's podcast.
Well, thanks for joining us. Okay, so I guess we're at the end of the podcast. Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Okay, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
You hang on. I'm going to stop the broadcast.